I had a question for Michael. So, like, basically, when you design TV applications, like considering the remote, there's like a fairly limited navigation option. So, like, a lot of TV apps tend to look the same. Like, all of them kind of have this Frogger thing. So, how do you sort of like be creative or like establish some sort of interesting UI brand in the context of such limited navigation?
That's a really tough thing when you're dealing with these apps because one of the things with those interface conventions, one of the ways that you can be creative, like with the Amazon Fire app, we didn't have to follow specific things. Like the X1 application, it requires this persistent nav bar across the top, but I think the way that you can really be creative with it is by use of, it's very limited as I was saying, but it's the use of typography, your white space. There isn't much you can do with it, but in that respect, you definitely can be creative in your use of those basic elements.
I would say also that it's a paradigm inversion from traditional UX and UXD, and that your goal is to get people. The most popular apps on television are content-based, and so your goal is to get people to the content as quickly as possible. So it's basically search-based interface with results, and then you display the results and people get to it. And so from that perspective, what your goal should be is actually engine optimization in terms of display speeds, and not so much UX inventions. That's my view.
This question's from Michael. I'm wondering how do things like Chromecast affect UI? Because you're sitting there designing it onto some mobile device, and then it flashes bigger. You guys given any thought to that?
Yeah, well, with my limited knowledge of Chromecast, it's just basically broadcasting whatever's in Chrome, right? So in that respect, I don't really have any experience working with Chrome, but I would say the considerations I would make would just be, I actually don't know.
It's a split screen device, so you just want to make sure that.
So working at YouTube,
Oh,
I have to
sorry,
think
go
about Chromecast a lot. Well, I think generally, we've only done the basics with Chromecast and allow you to kind of basically mirror and fling something to the TV screen. But I think there's a ton of potential in terms of thinking about how these screens can work together. And from a YouTube perspective, our technology allows us to evolve that more. So I think we're just seeing like the basics of that, and right now we're just making it work and work reliably and work with as low latency as possible. But like in the future, you'll probably see a lot more fun stuff coming.